Hi, this is William, and this is Devlog 2 for Unnatural Investigations. Title this one Systems. So, in the previous video, we kind of went over the overview of what the game was and kind of just a far back look at everything for the game. Now we'll dig a little bit deeper into the systems, and we'll start with some of the upfront ones, which is the main menu and things like that. What you'll notice, well, one thing you'll notice on here that you won't see on the early access build is we have a single player and a multiplayer. Now, originally we were going to just focus on multiplayer in terms of early access and all that stuff, and that is still the case. However, being that we're going in early access, we're an unknown studio. There's going to be it's going to be a little bit more difficult for us to get the game out there, get it in people's hands, because of how early access is in general and how many games or game developers, whatever you can call them, are pretty much crooks and take advantage of people. So obviously it's more scary to get an early access game, especially when you don't know anything about it and it's an unknown developer. So what we came up with is a single player demo, which will encompass everything in the multiplayer, just give you a little taste so you can play it in single player. That way we can release that a bit earlier than the early access, give players the opportunity to actually play it, because having videos and images really, nowadays isn't enough, and it can be easily faked. So we figured, since nobody knows who we are, it's best for people to actually experience it and get a feel for it up front before they decide they want to jump in early access, things like that. So we hope that the single player demo will bring more people in and let people understand that what we're making is a legit game and things like that. So anyways, normally you won't see these two buttons. For the demo, you'll just have the demo and put multiplayer, not multiplayer. And we do have plans for single player in the future, an actual dedicated single player, but just wanted to clarify that while you're seeing this. So once you do jump into multiplayer, right now you only see investigation as the game mode. However, in the future, we do plan on adding different game modes to fulfill different needs, or kind of, I guess, to cater to different play styles and things like that. Investigation is the core right now, and that's what we're focused on until well into early access. And depending on how early access goes and how the community builds up and feedback, then the other modes will be developed out. More on that when as we get closer to that. But let's jump in. Now you got your standard hosting setup. This is where you host your room for you and your 3 other friends or 3 random people to join. If you don't care who joins and you want to just jump in, essentially you just click host and then pick the level. However, if you want friends or you want specifics, or maybe you just want to play by yourself or something like that, then you'll just put your name and password in. So this is pretty much the last screen in the menu before you actually get into the game, and this is where you actually pick your level and you wait for your crew to join, and once everybody's there, then you join. Alright, so let's talk about the first system. The easiest one to talk about here is the character controller. It's very smooth. So we went with an asset that kind of had awesome controller and also multiplayer function in there. I'll link that in the description. We've modified it to work for our particular game, so it's really saved a lot of time, so we're not building from scratch. And again, our game is, well, at least this mode is investigation heavy, so we're not didn't focus on having like a Doom like like run and gun fast kind of shooting. It's that's not what our first-person game is about. It's more team-oriented, like investigating. However, we didn't want to neglect the actual controller and the gunplay, so we opted for something that works quite well with like multiplayer first-person shooting. And we did that, because there are instances where you will engage in enemies, and we didn't want that to be lacking. So the system again is really awesome. It's got everything you need. How we're using it, we're not using, again, we've modified it, so we're not using it the same way that the system is intended for. So what we're doing is everybody, when they play it, even if they have a different character model and all that good thing, they have the same 4 base weapons, which is this one is your assault, your primary, got your secondary, you got your shotgun, and your melee. Bosses require different ammunition types to take them down, so we'll get into that system a little bit later, but that's how you do it. And the gunplay again is everything is good. I'm still working on the ground effects there, but reloads for the gun it's top-notch stuff. It looks really good. Again, another reason why we chose it. Looks great. So yeah, that's the controller. So when combat does happen, it'll be very fluid and you'll be good to go. Alright. Pardon the super bright light there. I got the exposure pretty high for testing other things. But anyways, every level in the investigation, you'll have your little tent. In your tent, you'll have different tables. We don't have all the tables in yet, and some of the models might change. But one of the main ones you're looking at right now is changing your actual class. Again, you will be able to change classes on the fly. However, once you pick your first class, if you go back to the table to change again, there will be a timer. You'll have to wait. That way you're not going to be able to spam back and forth really quick. Unless you're playing solo, then we'll probably build in a few little helpers for solo. But again, our game is intended for multiplayer. Alright, so I'm going to pick the forensic. Now real quick, let me cheat. Just level up my classes, and I'll go on that in a second. Real quick while I'm here, you can see the UI. Top left is the mini-map. Top center is when the boss will spawn. In the bottom right is the ammo type, class type, ammo, and health. Alright, so another system that you'll never see, but before the match starts, a lot of random variables are created, which determine the boss you're going against. It'll even drill down further for the boss and have different, subclasses of the boss. But in any case, they have the boss that spawns. Based on that, it'll trickle down to the enemy, the corpse, and then everything else. And then it'll all pick a random location in the map, and then it'll all spawn. So for the corpses, this is where you'll get one of your clues from. And again, being a high level in forensic, we'll do 2 things. First off, I'm not really level 20. 20. There'll be 10 levels. That's it. But I cheated and got it higher. But when you do get to level 10, you would have unlocked all of these. But basically, every 2 levels, you unlock a new tool. And again, just a disclaimer. Like, this is the UI. The system's functionality, program-wise, but visual, like UI-wise, that'll definitely change as we go further and further in. But this pretty much encompasses everything we wanted to do. You got a body, and you have these red triangles which represent potential clue locations. If you have a high level, you'll get all these tools. Each tool essentially removes a location where there is no clue. So that will, decrease the time it takes you to investigate the body. And then, being that I'm a high level, this bar is going to go down, I think it's almost 5 times as fast as normal. So when you start off, everything's going to be a little bit slower, but it's going to incentivize you to focus on leveling up. and even though I'm the top level, um, I still didn't find the clue right off the bat. That's another random factor that plays in. You have a higher chance at a higher level, but there's still always a small chance that you don't get it right off the bat, um, and then get it a second time. However, the way the system works is, for some reason, if you fail all of it, then 100% you're gonna know that the last one's gonna give you the clue. It just means that it took you a little bit longer to get there. And here, after the third time, we found the clue. And again, you could be level 1 and find the clue. If it's all random, it's luck. So once you do find the clue, you or anybody in your crew can then go over to the forensic table and they can examine it. Again, UI will change later. We want something more dynamic, but right now this is what we're working with, until we get out of early access and things, or while we're in early access, do more. But this one again is based on your skill, so a higher skill level will make this examination go a lot smoother, which again incentivizes, you know, the person with the highest forensic level to potentially be doing the forensic stuff. But everybody can do the forensic part. It's just time-wise. And boom. Alright, poison blood. So go to the journal or the data. Try to make this simple too. You get clues. There's 3 of them. Usually, the corpse will have one. There'll be one from the medium and then one from the occult, which I'll talk about in a minute. You have your creatures here. I don't mind showing them off because really the only 3 at the top are kind of recognizable. The rest of them are takes on different creatures you'll take out. But what you'll do essentially, you'll see the name of the creature, a little screenshot here, its strengths, its weaknesses in terms of what you need to do for ammunition. We were working or playing around with a bio that kind of contained the clues within. However, it's become quite obvious that it doesn't work so well, because then you have to read through this, and there's potential for some of the words not to exactly be the same because they don't make sense. Anyway, we're gonna flip that around. I'm gonna have just a bio here, and over to the right we'll have, you know, the clues laid out a little bit better. So, and like, some of the clues aren't going to be as specific. Like, you might get a clue and it's very close to it, but it won't specifically say it. So it'll still give you some options. But anyways, class info and game info, not adding yet, but game info will essentially be like a handbook to, you know, all the controls and what you need to do, and kind of just a breakdown. Class info will go over the classes. So while I talked about the ammo, there will be an ammo, and this is essentially, when you change this, it changes the ammo for all your weapons. Again, we'll probably tweak it, add more, maybe remove some, whatever. But if I'm going against a werewolf and its weakness is silver, then you want to choose this. And at the bottom, you can see that now I'm using silver ammo. Again, this is the gameplay decision that we decided. Instead of having a crazy amount of a bunch of different weapons and, you know, all this extra stuff related to guns and things like that, we wanted to go with a simpler approach and just have it so you actually just change out your ammo. So anyways, that's how you do for that. Now, let's look at the medium. Nope. Now the medium is the spiritual one in the group. Cultist is kind of like demonic. And they do get a special ability. If you hit X, what you'll see is a shining figure over there. That is a ghost. You go to the said ghost, talk to him. Won't be as blunt as that, and it won't be as quick. I'm a high level, so I got it. My randomness was real good, but normally, you know, you're gonna find like lots of ghosts. So you'll switch on your vision, you'll find them, and you'll talk to them. They'll say something, and if it's not the right one, then they'll vanish. And a few seconds later, another one will spawn somewhere else on the map. So you're gonna have to hunt around and look for them. And yeah, once you do find the right one, they'll give you the clue. And if you look at our clues, now we have 2 clues. And there'll be more specifics for each class, but that's the main one for medium. For the occultist, they have a similar skill when it comes to their view. They can't see ghosts, however they can see demonic crystals. And a little bit part of the lore is the crystals pretty much exploded from the earth when this demonic, essentially when this relic, which everybody can see, spawn, which is just the after effect of demonic presence. And real quick, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna disconnect and reconnect, just because the timer is getting low on the boss, and we're not gonna show off the bosses today. But I am gonna show you more of the occultists, so let me become them. All right, and we'll probably have like an animation effect and some particle effects when you change. But right now, alright, grab these crystals. Now the crystals are worthless until they are broken down, and that's what I'm going to show you now. Well, yeah, I'll show you that. So again, same thing like the forensic, and is the higher level, the quicker these crystals will break down. Alright, so while they're breaking down, just a little bit more information on the medium and the occultist. So while you're using the vision, and even for the forensic one, while you're using the vision though for the occultist or the medium, there's a chance, and there's a lot of variables, your level is one of them, but there's a chance that if you're using it too long, that for the occultist, like a demon will spawn, and for the medium, a wraith. Wraith kind of is the protector of the that particular realm, but they'll spawn and they'll target you. For the forensic and the engineer does lockpicking, so they make a lot of noise sometimes, whereas the forensic one is digging through the corpse, which generates a lot of blood and that kind of smell and stuff. So those 2 classes will generate, or have the potential to generate, like a wild animal, even like a low-level werewolf, which some of the werewolves are like more like basic enemies. They're not bosses. But anyways, those have the chance of spawning something, based on the smell of blood or the sound. So that's one of the things that we're incorporated to, incentivize people to work together as a team. So maybe your team breaks up into 2, and somebody's protecting the forensic one while somebody's protecting, I don't know, the medium while they're searching, or the occultist or whatnot. And that way, if the creatures do spawn, then you don't just get attacked. You have a better defense. So those are in progress. By the time early access comes out, all those will be in there. The occultists and the medium ones are fine right now, working on the engineer and the forensic one right now too. But that way you're not sitting there just looking at a screen the whole time. You're actually trying to get it done as fast as you can and not have any get attacked from behind or whatever. Alright, so once you do refine the crystals down, again, everybody benefits from that. So another player could come over here and do this, but if you're not the occultist, there's going to be other negative effects too for not doing a specific task while as a class. But essentially, if you are the class and you're doing that specific task, you will get experience. Otherwise, you're not going to get much. But once it's charged, we have 400 demonic energy. Each one of these takes 100. And now the relic itself is fully charged, and boom, there's the clue. Again, this is the basic UI. Our plans for this is once you charge the relic and you activate it, a demon will essentially tell you a clue. it won't be like a direct clue, but he'll tell you almost like a riddle, like, but he'll tell you the clue, um, voice wise, and also we're considering having like a demon spawn and tell it to you, but it'll be a lot more interactive. Again, these are things that we'll polish as we get on, and just they're more so like visual, not like changing the system. All right, and I mean, as you can see, we have other tests here, like systems for ground effects and stuff like that. But let's see. Let's talk about the engineer. Right now, the engineer is probably the least fleshed out in terms of its particular systems. I don't have the actual locked object activated this time, but they are able to unlock things better than everybody else. So again, this is not a much of a big deal in the smaller levels, which I'll show you like two of our smaller levels. But in a large, that's another thing too. We're gonna have small, medium, and large levels. Early access is gonna start off with the 3 small levels, but we'll build bigger ones. But as the levels get bigger, there's gonna be more places for things to be behind locked doors or you know, security buildings and things like that. So the engineer is going to specialize in that, along with they'll have ability to drop health and ammo stations that kind of offer a limited time, you know, benefits for that, and they'll also be able to drop a ammo change station that again is temporary. So like anywhere in the field, again, it's going to be more useful in a bigger area, but still useful nonetheless in any area. But one of their useful ones in all areas is they are also going to be able to build traps. So they will be able to construct traps that will hurt the boss if it's the right trap for the boss, or lead it to a direction, slow. They'll be able to create those, which they'll help in battle. And as well as that, they do make good cover, like so that they can help the others while they're doing their thing. So kind of a support kind of role. One other thing I wanted to show you before I did you a little bit of the level is the spawn table. Now, what this is whoever's hosting the game is the team leader, and how it works is the team leader can hopefully interact with the team once you get the clues. And say you don't want to, let me just exit. Say you don't want to wait. You found the clues and you still got 8 minutes left, and you don't want to just hang around for 8 minutes. So if you think you know what it is, team leader will click, werewolf, whatever. They'll click it. Everybody on the other team will look at the board and they won't see summon. They'll just see agree. It'll say selected boss, werewolf, and if they all agree, then this button will show for the leader. Shows right now because I'm the only one in there, so I don't have to worry about anything. But this is one of our ways to not only speed up the match once you know what it is. We also have those checks and balances in there, so the team leader can't just spawn a monster without everybody's approval. And the last check that's in there is you can't just go over there and spawn any monster and fight it. It doesn't work that way. The level of monster is established at the beginning of the match. If you choose the wrong one, you will still get that one, except for it will be much harder. So it pays to find the clues, essentially, is how we're going to word that there. Alright, so yeah, let's real quick before we end this out here. I did want to give you an idea. You've probably seen some of the, hopefully you've taken a look at some of the trailers or anything like that. Check out the levels, but I'll show you kind of the layout of the levels. Now, they are dark, at least some of them are more dark than others. And we're still tweaking that, but we wanted it to have that kind of feel. And so this is the first level. It's not done in terms of the boundaries, and obviously we're doing a lot more landscaping. But we do have it in here, some dynamic grass and stuff. When you walk through it, your other people can see some minor, pretty cool things and footsteps and stuff like that. So you go in the house. the corpse could be in the house. Well, he's in there this time. He could be anywhere. He could be in the house. He could be outside. Um, whatever. Your forensic person finds that one. They start searching. You switch your views to the other thing. Somebody finds the orb, which is all random, and you and your team work out what's going on. That's pretty much kind of like the overview of the levels. I did want to show you one more level that's different than the other ones. It's the cave system. Not every level again is like a house or this and that. Some of them do go into some kind of almost gothic and medieval themes, and that'll be explained in the lore and whatnot. But this is another level that I'm liking how it's going. We're still working on it, so this one is way not ready. You can see there's no boss spawn or nothing like that. But it's a different type of level. You can go in a cave, and just like other ones, the creature and the corpses can spawn anywhere. And this cave has multiple paths. These two intersect. Overall, it's a nice environment. It's pretty atmospheric. There's gonna be a little bit more atmospheric lights and things like that. But yeah, this is kind of a different type of level. So it's gonna be a little bit scarier when you're running through this level, being that you're in a cave. You may be way over here working on a corpse, and somebody may be way over there working on some finding ghosts and things like that. And maybe wild animal spawns or wraith or something. It's gonna have a little suspense to it. So this is just kind of a first pass at the level. This gives you an idea of what everything looks like. And yeah, that's pretty much all the systems in a nutshell. Hopefully, people can see what what we're going for, and the systems and things like that, and hopefully people get excited. If you like the video, like it, subscribe, for the algorithm thingy. But more importantly, go on Steam, wishlist it. That gives us a good idea of what people are looking forward to. And yeah, I'll be doing another one of these videos later on when we have something else to show. And thanks again. If you have any questions, too, leave them in the comments, or reach to us on websites and things like that. Thanks.